Hi friends, Krista here. Thank you so much for stopping by Books and Jams. I am so excited that this is the third anticipated releases video for the year that I'll be doing. So I'm going to be talking about today books that I am looking forward to that are coming out in July, August, and September, the third quarter of 2021. I have 11 more books. I've kind of made that my number this year. There's probably twice or triple that number of books that I'm excited for, but I feel like narrowing it down has helped immensely. And before I get into this new set, let me just say that from my winter books, I only have 3 left that I haven't yet read, and one of them I own, and one of them I'm currently reading. So I will just have one left after that, which is awesome. And the one that's left is Sunflower Sisters by Martha Hell Kelly, and I really need to read Lost Roses first. So I won't be able to get to that one right away. And then as far as the spring books, I have not been doing very well. I've honestly only read one of those, Pride and Premeditation, but I do have 1, 2, 3. I now own one of them, Rumeysa, and I've been approved for 4 of them on NetGalley, and I currently have 3 checked out at the library. Another one is coming in my book of the month box. So I'm getting them. They're coming, and I have the ability to read some of them. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So hopefully by the end of this third quarter, I will have read some more of those. I don't always read so many new releases, so that's been a little bit different this year, but I'm enjoying it. So let's just jump right into the books coming out in July, August, and September. I have 5 that I've chosen for July, and then 3 each for August and September, for a total of 11. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a companion novel to others that I've already read, and it is Incense and Sensibility by Sonali Dev. I've already read and really enjoyed Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors and Recipe for Persuasion by Sonali Dev, so I really didn't need to know anything more about this book, except that it's going to be an Indian American twist on a Jane Austen novel, Sense and Sensibility, which is going to be really fun. So Sense and Sensibility is about the 2 sisters and their love life, and this is going to have some of the same characters from the previous 2 books. They're all kind of companions, so they don't follow one another as far as sequels go, but they're all companion novels, so we'll focus on some of the different characters. I'm really excited about that one, and I have requested it from NetGalley, so we'll see if I get that one. The next one I'm going to talk about is Forest of Vanishing Stars by Kristen Harmel. I have recently read and really loved the Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel, and I have a couple others of hers on my shelf that I really want to get to. I loved her writing style. This one is by Gallery Books, and it comes out on July 6th. Oh yeah, Incense and Sensibility also comes out on July 6th, the day before my birthday. Yay. I've also requested Forest of Vanishing Stars already on NetGalley. This one is a World War II historical fiction, which you guys know is one of my favorite things. So this one takes place in the Eastern European wilderness. A young woman who is German is captured and brought out into the wilderness. The man who captured her dies and kind of leaves her there alone and isolated. She sees a group of Jews who are fleeing the Nazis. Their paths cross, and they teach her how to survive in the wilderness. And then I think somehow she's betrayed, or they're betrayed or something, and she flees to a German occupied town. And then the past and present, there's somehow 2 storylines going on here, but the past and present are then going to crash into each other, as they do. But I'm looking forward to reading more from Kristen Harmel, because I've only read one of hers so far and I loved it. The next one is The Rehearsals by Annette Christie. This one comes out on July 13th. And it's published by Little Brown and Company. And this one is a totally different from the last one, not heavy and historical at all, but it's a romance with a Groundhog Day twist. So this couple is getting married, and on the eve of their wedding, they have the rehearsal, which is a disaster. The rehearsal does not go well at all, and they end up calling off the wedding. Well, they wake up the next morning and find out that they're in a time loop, just the 2 of them. So they have to relive the day before their wedding, this day of their rehearsal, over and over and over until they get it right. So there's family secrets, there's family crazy characters in the family, there's this 10-year history between the 2 of them, and it just sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for something lighthearted. That's just kind of the mood that I'm in lately. Maybe that's why it's standing out to me, but I like the idea of a Groundhog Day trope. So we'll see how that one goes. The fourth one on my list, I actually already own. I won a Goodreads giveaway for this one, and it is called 3 Words for Goodbye, and it's by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. This one comes out on July 27th, and I'm really excited. This just sounds so good. This is kind of a coming of age story set just before World War II, and these two sisters who are estranged with each other. They haven't gotten along for years, but their grandmother is on her deathbed, and she requests these two girls to travel across Europe to deliver these 3 letters to people from her past. And so these two girls have to be in close contact with each other. I'm sure they're going to work out all of their stuff that they have going on, and as well as traveling across Europe right at the brink of World War II. So it just sounds really good, historical, but also this family drama. I'm really looking forward to that. And I've read a couple other Hazel Gaynor books and really enjoyed her books, so looking forward to that one a lot. Next, we have another light and fun one, and it's called Men Are Frogs by Sarana, I don't know how to say her name, DeWild. And this comes out on July 27th by Kensington Books, and I requested this on NetGalley. And this is a smash up of a small town story, like set in the South, but also a fairy tale retelling. So we have The Princess and the Frog, I think is the retelling. Obviously, Men Are Frogs. We follow Zuri, who she was living in Chicago. She's a wedding planner, but she falls for one of the grooms, and that is a no-go. So she ends up moving to this small town and working there for Fairy Godmothers Inc., and I'm not sure, like a party planning business, I think. And she meets this bread and breakfast owner, Prince Philip something, I forget his name, but he's the frog prince. So she must only see him at night for a while, because I think at night he's a man and during the day he's a frog somehow. So there's a bit of magic in here, this twist on the fairy tale. I'm not sure if he's literally a frog or not, but it just sounds delightfully cheesy. I am just here for a fairy tale retelling. So Men Are Frogs sounds like a lot of fun. Then I have a middle grade, of course. I couldn't have a list without a middle grade. Actually, I think this is the first list. This is the first quarter that I've put middle grades on, and I have 2. But this one, Being Clem by Lisa Klein Ransom, is the third in a companion trilogy, another companion trilogy. This seems to be the theme this time around. This one comes out on August 3rd by Holiday House. It's not available on NetGalley, so I just hope to get on the list at the library quick to get it. The first 2 in the series, Finding Langston and Leaving Lyman, were so good. Amanda from the Curly Reader introduced me to this author in this series, and I just fell in love with those 2 books. They were so well done. And this kid, Clem, is in the other 2 books, and he's just the friend, voice of reason in a way. So we meet Clem, and we already know Clem a little bit from the other 2, and he is in his family, he's kind of the jokester. He can make his grumpy sisters laugh. He just has a really close relationship with his family. But then one day, his family learns that his father was killed in the Port Chicago tragedy, and I'm not sure exactly what that even is. So hopefully I will learn about that through this book. But his father passes away, and it changes everything. It's devastating for his family. His mom now has to work long hours, and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. Can he live up to his dad's legacy? And he just has to rediscover how to do life now without his father in it. So it sounds devastating and emotional. And I already know that I love Clem, and I already know that I love this author. So I'm really looking forward to that one on August 3rd. Another August book comes out on the 10th, and that is The Night We Burned by S.F. Kosa. This is a psychological thriller, not my normal go-to, but the thing that stood out to me about this is that Dora, our main character, had escaped from a cult about 20 years previously. I don't know what happened. It sounds like there was some kind of a fire involved, hence the title. She's escaped her cult. She's kind of reestablished a life for herself, but she's also still kind of running from her past and hiding who she really was and her experiences. Has a lot of secrets in her life now as a fact checker for an online magazine. Well, then a murder happens in her town back where she used to live, and it's connected to this fire that happened 20 years ago. And so there's a lot of secrets from her past that are starting to come up, and she, as a fact checker, is right in the mix of everything, following this journalist and trying to keep her past hidden while also allowing him to write his story. Like, it just sounds like it's going to be really good. But I love books that have a cult aspect to them. I find it very sad and harrowing and realistic, and I'm just excited for that one. Sounds like it could be good. We'll see. My third August book is called Lightning Strike. This is by William Kent Kruger. And I loved this Tenderland when I read it in January. So I'm very excited by another William Kent Kruger book. This is a mystery as well. Not a thriller like the last one, but it is a mystery. We follow a father and son. The son, 12-year-old Cork, he stumbles on a body in a logging camp. I don't know if they're camping or something, but he stumbles across this body. So his father, who is also the sheriff, and the son, they try to find out what happened to this body. Was it suicide as it seems, or did something more sinister happen? This is a prequel to a William Kent Kruger mystery series, and I'm not sure if that series is already out or not, but I feel like it is. I feel like the series has already started, and this is kind of a prequel to that series. And I don't know the name of that series, and I apologize for that. But as far as William Kent Kruger is concerned, I really just loved his writing in this Tenderland, and I own Ordinary Grace and really would like to read that as well. But I just am excited for another book by him and to just dive into whatever he has for me. I'm ready for his writing. Then I have 3 left that are all from September. The first 2 will both come out on September 7th. The first one is Bones of Ruin, and this is the only fantasy that I think I've put on any of these lists this year. The Bones of Ruin is written by Sarah Roffley, and this is a historical fantasy set in an alternate London in the 1880s. So I like the historical aspect of it. I like the alternate London. We follow in this one Iris, who is a young African girl who is a tightrope walker, but she has this special ability. She can never die. What? So she's putting on all of these shows, or she's part of this act of freaks, in a sense, in London, kind of putting on a show for all these colonists. And she's really frustrated with the situation that's happening to her and the way that her life is going. She really wants to know her past. She doesn't know much about her past, and she wants to know more about her past. And she gets caught up with the secret society, this one man in particular from this secret society who wants her to be his champion in this gladiator type game situation that's going to happen, and kind of bribes her with knowledge about her past if she will fight or act or do her tightrope thing in these games. So it just sounds super interesting. I love the idea of an alternate London historical setting, 1880s. I love the idea of this African tightrope walker and the conversation that might happen about colonialism. And I love that she can't die. Like, what is that? And her discovering her past, and the gladiator games and the secret society. I feel like there's a lot going on. So it could be really good. It could be too much. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. So I'm putting Bones of Ruin on my list. Then we have another historical fiction. Actually, the last 2 are also historical fiction. The first one is The Slow March of Light by Heather B. Moore. And this is published by Shadow Mountain, comes out on September 7th. This one is set in Germany, and right around the time of the Berlin Wall going up. And we know that it just kind of went up practically overnight. And it's based on a true story. And we follow 2 people, Bob and Louisa. Louisa is a young German girl who gets separated from her grandmother when the wall goes up. She is on the West Germany side of Berlin, and her grandmother is trapped in the East Germany side of Berlin. And she is determined to rescue her grandmother and get her out somehow. So she joins this network of spies in order to do that. And I think in the process helps rescue a lot of other people from East Germany as well. And then we also follow Bob, who met Louisa on the West German side of Berlin at a church social, and they clicked and they sparked, but he's an American soldier, and he gets assigned to go undercover as a spy on the East German side of Berlin. So he gets sent to the other side and has to smuggle out documents and different things. These 2 storylines we alternate back and forth between them in this book, and I'm sure they're going to come together again at some point towards the end as well. I'm just really excited. I haven't read too much about East Germany. About Berlin, post-World War II Berlin and the wall going up. I do have a middle grade book called The Night Divided that is set right during that time, and I'd like to read that. But yeah, and I know I think I have a couple others as well, or at least one other that is set during that time. So I'm really intrigued by The Slow March of Light, and I think that it sounds really good. I'm hoping that the writing is wonderful and that I just fall in love with that book. The final one that I have for this group of anticipated reads is a middle grade again, and it's called A Terrible Tide by Suzanne Mead, and it is set in Newfoundland. Did I say that right? In Canada. in the early 1900s, 1929, and we follow a 13-year-old girl, Celia, and her family, and they experience an earthquake, and then shortly thereafter a huge, like 30-foot wave comes and totally floods out, almost like a tsunami, I think, that kind of floods out their home, their village, their community. And it's a survival story, ultimately, the after effects of those two things, the earthquake and then this wave. What are they going to do? How do they work together with their community to survive this event? It's based on true events. It really happened. And I just think that sounds really wonderful and told from a middle grade perspective. I'm just thrilled about that. A Terrible Tide. So those are my 11 anticipated reads for the third quarter of 2021. Do you have a book that's not on my list, or did any of these spark your interest as well? I would love to chat about these or anything else down in the comments below. You guys know I love talking with you down there. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye.